And good morning. We're ready to start 7.4, Principles of Math 2. So yesterday we talked about using coefficients with 1 in front of them. So today we're going to combine like terms with fractional coefficients. So as we use math to explore God's creation and help with real-life tasks, we encounter problems with fractional as well as whole number coefficients. For example, if someone makes half an unknown amount, we could represent that as half times x, which could be shortened to half x. Here, half is the coefficient of x. The good news is that the same principles we've been using with whole number coefficients apply to fractional coefficients too. In this lesson, we'll take a look at a couple of examples of simplifying expressions that include fractional coefficients. So let's look at this box. Remember, in the case of fractional multiplication, it's helpful to think of the multiplication as finding a portion of another number. So half times x or half x means half of x. Doesn't matter what the value x ends up being. When we find half x, we're finding half of that value. Now, let's say someone gets a bonus of 1/20th of his weekly salary. Then another bonus of 3/5 of his normal weekly salary. He must be doing a good job. If the bonuses total $300, how much is his normal salary? So if we use x to represent the normal salary, we would have this equation. 1/20th of his normal salary plus 3/5 of his normal salary equals how much he got. How do you solve this? Well, you combine like terms with fractional coefficients the same way we do like terms with whole number coefficients. Remembering to rewrite the fractions so that they have the same denominator, because these are adding fractions, so guess what? They need common denominators. So let's look at the next page and see how they worked it all out. Here's the equation. Okay, we're going to give this one a 20 and make this a 3. We've got to change that. So now they have like denominators. So now we can combine the like terms by adding them together. So now we get 13/20. X, which is his salary, that's unknown, equals 300. Well, now we need to get x by itself. So we need to divide both sides by 13/20 to find x, which we do by inverting and multiplying. Remember how to do that? You're going to take 13/20 and you're going to flip it. You're going to take the reciprocal, because that's how you undo that fraction. Okay, so 13/20x times itself, which is dividing itself, equals 300 times 20/13. Because whatever you do over here, you got to do over here. Okay, so now all of these cancel out each other, so we're left with x by itself. Equals, now this would be 300/1. So 300 times 20 gives you 6,000/13. And then you just divide. 6,000 divided by 13 gives you 461.54, $461.54. That's his normal salary. Now, let's change the problem a little. Say someone gets a bonus of 1/20th of his weekly salary. If the amount of his normal salary plus the bonus is 420, how much is the normal salary? So we're going to use x to represent our unknown, which is our normal salary. So we'd have this. His normal salary plus the bonus, which was 1/20th of his salary, equals his total. Okay, so this right here is his bonus plus his normal salary. We don't know his normal salary. That's what it's wanting us to find, so that's why we make it a variable. So his normal salary plus his bonus was 1/20th of his normal salary. And that's why we write it this way. So we can find the unknown, the normal salary, easily if you can remember what we can think of x as having right here, the coefficient of 1. So you're going to view this as 1x. So 1x plus 1/20x equals 420. Now we're going to rewrite so the coefficients have the same denominator. So we have to give this denominator of 20, which makes it 20/20. Okay, so then you're going to combine like terms. 20 plus 1 is 21/20ths. X equals 420. Now divide both sides by the reciprocal of this, which is actually multiplying the reciprocal. Okay, so we're going to take this, multiply by the reciprocal, both sides, and we end up with X, because all these cancel out, we left with X equals $400. When you put this over 1 and you do all the calculations, then his normal salary is $400. Okay, now we have one important note right here. Notice that we rewrote 1x as 20 over 20x in order to add it to 1 over 20x, giving us 21 over 20x. Use improper fractions as coefficients rather than mixed numbers, as they are simpler to read and work with. So you always want to use improper rather than mixed. Mixed numbers will just kind of mix you up. Just kind of keep that in mind. All right, let's look at our worksheet 7.4. So fractional coefficients, find the value of these expressions given the values for x. So they're giving you the value of x. So, and meaning 1/4 of a $200 weekly salary. So 1/4 times x when x is $200. So you're just going to do 1/4 times $200. So you know how to multiply fractions. So go ahead and do that. Now, this is 1/4 x when x is negative $500. Now, an example meaning of this might be 1/4 of a $500 monthly mortgage payment, which is shown here as a negative since it's owed. Okay, so you'll just remember your negatives. So this ought to be pretty easy. You're just placing numbers in where they go. It's giving you what the variables are. On the next page, on the back of it, you're going to be combining like terms, what we did yesterday and today, except today they're fractions. Make sure they get common denominators, because when you add fractions, they've got to have common denominators. Okay, so over here, you're going to solve, check, and then you're going to have a couple of problems here. Okay, should be pretty easy, but I am here to help if you need any help, so just let me know. I'm not going to grade this page, but I do want to know if you're having any trouble. Okay, that'll be all for today. Yeah!